And it's the Premier League. It's hot, and we've never had it like this.
No,
Since the early part of the last decade, we've not had the title race in the Premier League like this. You look at the table, Arsenal currently leading at this point, but then Liverpool are in and about, and so is Manchester City. In fact, at this point, Liverpool and City are, sharing the same number of points in the league. And the question I really want to treat is, who do you think wins this one? And it's opinionated. It's just opinions. You don't have to, your loyalty can determine your opinion here, because I have my opinion anyway. None of these clubs are my club. Ferranti now, for instance, is a Liverpool fan, and Victor, his allegiance is in Spain and not in England particularly. But I have my opinion. But I think I want to go with Victor first, right? And what do you think? Because let's start from a neutral standpoint. I think it's easier that way because you do not support a club in England. How do you think this title race ending? Who takes the cherry at the top of the bunch?
I mean, in an ideal world, one would expect club to have the perfect farewell, but that won't happen. I don't see that happening. This year, next year, or even if he decides to come back to the Premier League, it's not happening anytime soon because the Guardiola army are gunning for that title.
Oh, so you're going City?
City all the way.
I was right when I said that his allegiance is in Spain. I mean, maybe particularly Catalonia, and you can see Pep Guardiola is from that part of Spain, and you can see where his allegiance are. I didn't lie.
The greatest of all time is here to make
Don't start
the Premier League.
No.
The Farmers
I'm not going to go there. We are not going to go there. But really, I totally understand. I mean, City, they've been dominant in this league, and they've won. They're going to do a quartet of Premier League titles. I mean, back to back, if they win this one. But I do feel, for the first time in about 7-8 years, that it's not going to them. And here's why. Yeah, it's not. I mean, City, when they are going to win in a vintage style, as we've seen in recent years, what they do is dominate. By now, you expect City to have about north of 85 points. But you look at the table and they have 67, joint with Liverpool, who I think will win this time, because Liverpool, there's something about that team. When I watch football, I like to see a team with spirit, with bite, with character. Liverpool are not playing particularly the best football amongst the three. You could want to say maybe Arsenal are doing that. Yeah. If it's about fantastic football, the brand, the style of play, Arsenal have it right now. But Liverpool, somehow, they know how to win games. They have the experience. They seem to have firepower as well. You look at the attack of Liverpool, Cody Gakpo, maybe that's not the proper player to start with, but there's Mohamed Salah, the obvious pick. Yeah, there's also Luis Diaz. I mean, you can mention the names, Ranti. I'm sure you also believe that Liverpool will win this time.
For my belief, I love to take things from a point of view whereby I see what the outsiders are doing. And for me, the only threat I have in this three-horse race is Arsenal.
You have?
Yeah.
Are you in the race?
Yeah.
Is Ranti in the race? Or Liverpool?
Yeah, I see what you did there.
How about the insiders?
Well, for me, Liverpool, they have a very good chance of winning because for some reason they've ridden the tide during the injury issues they had during the beginning of the season, losing Salah for about two months during the season, and they still found a way to
win
be
games
at the peak. Aside that, this is a team that is more or less refurbishing itself, having to do it with 4 or 5 midfielders and coming in with 3 or 4 midfielders, and it just looks like they were in sync from day one. Going back to my point from looking at it from like an outsider, Man City, who are meant to be the guys are meant to be looking out for, they seem like the weakest team right now. This is the weakest I've seen Man City.
Honestly, I agree with you.
That's a bold assessment.
Yeah, it is, but it's true to some extent. I mean, we have 2 people saying it already.
I've always known the Man City to be a team whereby if there's one player out, there's another player ready to pick up wherever that player dropped off from. And it's not the situation right now. For instance, you can go to their left wing. There's a Grealish and Doku. We don't know who is a better player. We don't know who's going to be on form at a particular period. Going to the right wing is obvious Foden has owned that position. Bernardo Silva has been the go-to guy, and kudos to him. He almost left during the summer window, and Guardiola had his ways of convincing him to stay. And I feel that's one of the key points. One of the key things Guardiola did during the summer, keeping Bernardo Silva. He lost some star players, and trust me, the signing over the summer wasn't Man City X.
I don't think this recruitment from the summer was the best.
Yeah, it wasn't.
In the last 5 years from City.
For me, it wasn't. Arsenal, on the other hand, they look like a learned fighter.
What a way to class there.
Yeah,
and it's funny that amongst us three here, no one is particularly giving Arsenal the chance. I mean, we did in last season, and maybe rightly so at the end. But how about now? They're looking proper.
Yeah, they're looking proper, but there's this one thing about Arsenal over the years. They tend to buckle. And once you keep buckling over the year, you just need to prove to everybody.
You're right about buckling. I want to ask Victor, by the way. I'm wondering, do you think they did against City? I mean, and do you think that's the start of their buckling, the bottling also? Because against City, I've watched Arsenal play City in the last 2 years. And Arsenal have been more of that team that pressures City. We didn't see that over the weekend when Arsenal plays City. Do you worry for them right now?
So for the first time in a while, I would congratulate Mikel Arteta for how he has developed this team, because that performance against City was displayed excellently well, in the sense that City had only, how many shots? A shot on target or 2 shots on target from 12 attempts.
Yeah.
And at the Etihad, you know, teams will be dismantled with the firepower that City have, right? Now, Arteta is a pragmatic coach as much as he's also a tactical coach. He has learned from experience.
Please don't glorify him too much.
I mean, I'm not his biggest fan.
And there's a certain Xabi Alonso somewhere, please.
Exactly, there's that.
Right? Don't try and increase or pump up his ego.
Arteta has done a great job with this team, but from what I saw with that Arsenal team, they look just a bit above what they did last season. But the jury is still out for them, because there's still a potential bottling job lying ahead in the next 2 or 3 fixtures.
They have some very difficult fixtures. They still have to play Chelsea. They still have to play Man United. These two teams now are not particularly high-flying, but they would take an interest in trying to, decide how that race ends. I'm talking about the 3-horse race.
Yeah, exactly. And with Saka having to, sit out a couple of matches, 1 or 2, there's that question mark over his fitness. In the tail end of the season, how fit do you want your golden boy to be? Yeah. Martinelli this season hasn't lived up to the expectations of last season.
The standards
he set for himself from last season. Trossard, well, there's a dip in form here, thereabout. Gabriel Jesus, not really sure whether he's a striker, a roaming striker, a defensive striker, or
no definition.
No striker at all. Right. And then there's Liverpool, who have their players returning from injury just at the right time. Jota, Szoboszlai. I mean, they seem primed for the title, but then again, I stick with my choice.
Okay.
Been there, done that. Pep Guardiola is going to retain that title.
I don't think so. But then